Hi, everybody. Our sessions are continuing. Now, in order to deliver his presentation, I would like to invite Ataberk. He is the co-founder of Wendigo Games and a game developer. He is going to be talking us through receiving digital game education. Ataberk, the floor is yours. If you could just turn on your camera. Hi, am I audible? Yes, you are. Okay, superb. The floor is yours. Hi, everybody. Well, first of all, it's the first time that I am engaged in such a session. Mostly we used to do these live sessions, but for the first time I'm involved in a webinar. So first of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me. I have prepared the presentation, a short thing. I would like to go through that. Here we go. I think that it's on the screen now. Is it? Hopefully it is. Yes, it is indeed. Okay, so it's receiving education on game. So who am I? I am a game designer and a game developer. Just like Ms. Jeffer has mentioned, we've got a game studio which we have established. Actually, we are not an official company, but for 1.5 years now, we've been developing games. The reason for us not going official is that we're trying to design a computer game, and without actually making any money out of it, we don't want to pay any tax. That's why, I mean, the moment we start gaining money, then we will be establishing the company. And I am also the owner of the channel on YouTube called Atom. It is for game development. And tomorrow it's going to be my first year on YouTube. I'm trying to deal with different things, as you see, and I'm one of the first digital game design graduates in Turkey. It was started studying in 2016 at Bahçeşehir University. Including me myself, we had a total of 8 graduates. I am one of those graduates, and each time I'm really proud to say that I'm really optimistic. I'm really proud also. So why have I selected digital game design, and why should a person start doing digital game design? I wanted to become a software engineer, and I was at the high school and I was looking through many universities, and Bahçeşehir was one of them. I had even made an application to Bahçeşehir University, and in all my applications, I used to say that I want to concentrate on software in order to develop games. And how there was the section indicating that we should write our hopes, our dreams, and I want to do something like a survivor type game. And I wrote all of my dreams actually there, and then I received a certain scholarship. And my second term, digital design, game design was announced, and I said, okay, I'm just going to switch to this department because I started studying software, but I switched to digital game design because people used to, I mean, you could like learn how to design game, but that could come along later on. With software, you're going to be finding out the different programs, software, hardware. There is no such thing like game engine. Maybe if it were to be an elective class, then you could select it, or else you had to sort for extra games. But no, I wanted game because I like playing games 24/7. I enjoy playing games. And it's not only playing games. For instance, there when I log on to that game, that character creation, for instance, I use huge amounts of time. And then I used to give to even to the slightest detail because I enjoyed learning things of how things would look like on a specific game. And at the end of school, with C++, for instance, I used to like create those stupid snake games. And I said that I want to do this. I want to design a game. I want to something. And I wanted this a lot. I had this craving, and I knew that I was going to be happy because I play those games, and my they cannot detach me from computers. I mean, it's like a nerd. It sounds like a nerd, but I wanted to be a game designer. And instead of software, I switched digital game design, and I wanted to do this with all its merits, actually, designing a game. When I say with all its merits, what am I referring to? There is this hyper casual left side, and Hades, one of the latest, most successful indie games, as you see. So I am not a hyper casual sort of. I know that, especially in Turkey, hyper casual, it's, I mean, it has reached a tremendous level, hyper casual, and I am aware of this just like anybody else, and that has to be the case. I do not actually despise it, but there are some people, they only do clone hyper casual. What they do is that the existing game, they just clone it, and they just change the asset, and they say that they're designing a game. And there are many people with such mindset appearing. And people, because they don't have any idea about the game, for instance, I come from other sectors, and then I think that there is money in this sector, and I come to this over to this sector, but I know nothing about this sector. I don't know the game history, no background information. I only write a few codes, and I just join a company. I just sell my spirit, and I try to duplicate those other games. So if I want to do hyper casual, it has to be a really fantastic one. It has to be a really smashing, or else I want to do something like Hades, for instance, because those guys, they do everything perfectly. This is not something random. I mean, their success is not as a coincidence. This is something based on knowledge. And that's why I wanted to do something quality. Okay, so digital, can't we do those things without studying digital game design? Yes. What can we use in that respect? We can use YouTube channels, Turkish or else in other languages. There are millions of YouTube channels that enable you to design games. If I were to, for instance, log on to YouTube, I could easily find 10 to 15 channels, and even with one of them, I could myself develop a game. And secondly, online courses, excuse me. Online courses, Udemy, BTK Academy, there are all sorts of other websites, academias, and new ones are emerging for 20 TL, 30 TL, and some are even free of charge. You can join those courses and develop yourself. And there are also communities on Facebook. If you were to hang out on those social media, you could come across those communities like Unity Tree, for instance. Unreal is another group, so on and so forth. So that I can get involved in such groups, communities, and train myself. And fourthly, I can attend trainings like Game Jam Hatacom or as such webinar events, hackathon, Game Jam, for instance. I could like meet people there and train myself. And I don't need to study digital game design for none of these. So with digital game design, by the way, these are my student thoughts. Okay, first of all, training, education, experienced lecturers, them giving us an experience training, and you watching something on YouTube, there is this huge difference between the two. For instance, you might have questions when you watch something on YouTube, a YouTube training, but you don't have the possibility to ask. Even if you ask, you would get the answer within 2 or 3 weeks time. But when you're receiving this education, your lecturer, academician can directly help you. And there are also sources, foreign resources, which you may not be able to find on internet. For instance, your lecturer could have a really important PDF talking about the fundamentals of game design. And normally you may not even know how to Google search it, but your lecturer can share that with you directly, or else can offer you different channels, different books, for instance. And as a community, actually, you're 100% involved in the, you should be 100% involved in the community. And the schools, universities are such places. And you don't even have to try hard in order to be a part of the community. You are already involved in such a community. There you are living with that community, and you grow with them, you learn with them. So in this respect, whether you like it or not, you appreciate it or not, you set off on the journey with that community. And once you graduate, you come to learn millions of people from the sector, because there are all sorts of people entering in that. I mean, uh, coming to the university, they give workshops, for instance, or else they come for other purposes. You get to know them, and that's how you have a huge community, and you get involved in such a community. And events are also important, and the university actually offers that, because not only classes, lessons, but there are also workshops, game jams, for instance, every 2 or 3 times per year. You don't have to search for them. You don't have to make any applications, because university automatically joins you to those events. And those YouTube, those auxiliary sources, for instance, all those helping resources, again, they are also offered to you by the university. For instance, while you do all of these, in order to develop yourself, again, you can check out on YouTube channels, you can check out on online courses, or else join communities, or else attend different events on the internet. So the main theme here is that, would you like to use YouTube as your main instructor, or as your assistant instructor, and let the university teach you? And the most important thing is that you can manage time wisely when you receive education from the university. For instance, if I were not to receive digital game design, I would have wanted to study software, or else conservatory, arts school. And because everybody attends university, and you definitely have to study in a certain area. Yes, okay, you study in a certain area, maybe 6-7 hours of the day you spend time at the school, at the university. You spend time attending projects in the weekends, but if you think that you can attend those, you can do your regular university and learn as a side, as to how to design a digital game, it will be impossible for you, because you don't have the time actually. And after you graduate from university, it becomes even impossible, because at the final year of our university, we were concentrating on that project, the completion project, and we had no other time left. I mean, you can study in other different departments, but if you want to proceed in digital game design as a career, if you want to devote your full time, you should be studying digital game design, because there isn't anything that distracts you. Excuse me for the background noise, by the way. Okay, so let me also talk about the practical and theoretical classes. I have divided them into 5. Game jam. In terms of design, there is game design, environmental design, light design, character design, UI, UX design, all sorts of design classes is what we have at the university. Some are elective, some are compulsory classes. Unreal Engine, Unity, we learn them concerning certain software. And besides, with certain workshops like Engine, Twan, we also attend those. In terms of arts, 3D modeling, 2D drawing, concept drawing are the things that we attend. And then we do game jams, and we, for instance, have classes on audio effects. And you automatically find yourself in those game jams, especially in the first 2 years. They definitely want to attend those communities and want to acquire this game jam culture. So the first game jams, I mean, there is this fall game jam and spring game jam. So you being involved, first of all, is compulsory. I don't know whether it is the same case, because it's been a year since I graduated, but I do believe that that is the case. You have to be involved in a game jam. You have to be a part of the team, and you just throw yourself at the hearts of game design, and within 2 days you have to design that game. So while you are involved in this process, the lecturers say that the game that you design there is this fundamentals of game, a class called fundamentals of game, and you have to submit this as the final work. I mean, within 4 days you have to submit this final work. then you start developing that, and then that becomes the final project of your class. And well, amongst all these classes, this is the one that I enjoyed the most, because within 48 hours, I mean, by shredding, sweating, you develop a game. Because once you attend a game jam, many people, they say that, okay, after this we're going to be developing, they say, but full stop, nobody does so. Really seldomly people develop what they actually create in game jam. So developing what you create on game jam is something really nice. And there are also theoretical classes. First is a story design and story plotting, and monetization, marketing of games, and game history, and also the history of physical games, game psychology, gamer psychology. For instance, we see how a gamer policy is like on certain sections of the game, and we see the fundamentals of game there. And in brief, the game sector, almost all categories, all areas, is what we can see in this department. So whatever that crosses your mind can be found in this department. I mean, just like always, of course, I have a look at digital. I used to Google digital game design classes, but I didn't know that there was going to be like a game psychology or a gamer psychology class. This is one of the most fantastic classes that I have ever attended, believe me. And during my Google search, I hadn't come across that. But when I attended university, I discovered that there was an elective class lesson on gamer psychology, and it was really fantastic. So let's talk about the examination. There are interdepartment and out of department examination. Interdepartment examination, it's mostly project oriented, and it is based on practice. So when we first attended the university, we were only 20 people. The department was newly established. So lecturers learned from us, and we learned from them of how to tailor this content. And then we wanted the lecturers to examine us on practice, but then we actually we felt pity because the lecturers really challenged us on our practical work and setting examinations over those practical work. But in grade 2, grade 3, we got used to that. And on top of these lessons, classes, we attended a project-based examination. Like we used to complete a game that we had actually created on Game Jam, or else with level design, we had to design a level, so on and so forth. Longer term projects is what we used to concentrate. And also directly out of the departments, there are certain theoretical, oral, and written examination, for instance. Of course, at all universities, these are the common lessons. Unfortunately, you have to receive those lessons, classes, because in general, these are the classes that people do not enjoy, but they're compulsory in all universities. So 80%, 90% of our departmental examination was based on our practical activities, work, and our projects. We've got a Discord server. It's called Mara. It has got more than 30,000 members. And I also want to receive questions from that community in order to find out what people actually are asking. So this question has been asked a lot on that e-community of ours. Is the department really difficult? No, it's a really entertaining department. The video that you see on the right, it's a GIF. In 2018, actually, I had posted the story on my Instagram. It was late in the evening. So this is such an environment that you have at the university. Is it a difficult department? Of course, each department has got its own difficult aspect, but that is to do with you. That is to do with the student that attends. Because when I first attended, I was not that giving importance. I didn't take it that seriously, but then I devoted myself too much. It was really entertaining. I mean, the difficulty is based on personal perception. But even though it is difficult, challenging, if a guy like a tester is, for instance, is like designing games, also designs games with you, then it becomes entertaining. Of opening like different types of articles on your window, trying to design a game. Here at the university, you've got a community. One does the audio design, one has the design, for instance. And what is important is to turn this challenge into a pleasure, actually. And I do believe that many students actually are able to convert this challenge into pleasure. And yes, it has got its own difficulty, but it is a really entertaining department. We talked about game jam. Here, we've got compulsory and free jams. Just a short video here. Again, this is one of my global video game jams which I have attended. Well, it is at level 4 of our university building, but there are different floors actually, floor 5, floor 7 people are also attending the game jams there. And there are spring and fall game jams, and automatically actually they're converted from being obligatory to free. And there is also ball game jams, which are free. If you like, you attend. If you don't, you don't. And there are also ready game jams. And I just want to show you a glimpse of the jam between 5th to 12th of July. We will have this Mara Jam, magarajam.com. You can register, you can sign up. This is the largest in Turkey. The last one was attended by 2,500 people. If you're interested in game jams, I invite you to all to sign up on magarajam.com. Okay, so you get involved in all those projects, the department, the classes. Is it worth? Do you make money? Let's talk about salaries, payrolls. I don't know how much you're interested, but in general, you ask. Well, in general, I mean, these are not average actually, and it depends on the work that the company is undertaking, these wages. If you are working in a hyper casual company, it's a bit different. But if like this company is more like story oriented, you get a different wage. Here, there are 4 professions, as you see. It's between, I'm talking about the average here, it's between 6 to 12,000 if you're a game designer. Based on what? Well, as I said, it depends on your company. For instance, you attend a company, a year later, the average salary that you receive should be in this band. And at least if you're a junior attending the company, it would be around about 4.5 thousand to 5,000 TL, talking about all professions in this sector. And then, I mean, I can just guarantee you that, I mean, there may be places that offer less, there may be places that offer more, but the average with is bound is 6 to 12, but minimum is 4.5 thousand to 5,000 TL, which is good money. And here, the salaries here increase compared to, faster compared to other professions, because if the company that you attend becomes popular, the money that you receive can scale up easily. Because at the end of the day, you are selling a digital product. Because of that, the work that you do is really valuable, especially there is qualified staff is sought a lot in Turkey. As I said, I am the Discord channel called Mara in Turkey, and 24/7 companies knock on my door saying that they are seeking 3D artists, game designers, and they want me to announce those posts on my channel. That's why you are valuable. You go there and people start increasing your wage really fast. Of course, this depends from one company to another, but what I witness is that like within 3 to 5 months, for instance, I know people who've received 20% increase in their payroll. Okay, so these companies, can't we join those companies without receiving an education on digital game design? Supposing that I graduate from a software department, can't I be a part of this company? Yes, of course you can, but what is important is that community that you're involved in that enables you to find job easier, because in our country finding a job is really difficult, as you all know. Of course, lots of people are sought to for employment, but many people they just like put themselves out in the sector and try to seek for employment. That's why lecturers, some of our lecturers are company owners, and even though some are not like lecturers people, they come over to our university, for instance. They are company owners, and as you mingle with them, if they like you, if like you do a kind of networking, it becomes much easier for you to find employment. Even though they do not hire you, they could reference you to others. And internship, I mean, you've got this compulsory internship, and the school actually, the university actually places you to certain companies, not for all students, but some they do some. And they just appoint you as an intern at a game company. And people, after some time, after they see and judge you people, they understand you. I mean, with 90% of the interns, I've heard that after this internship, are you going to graduate? Shall we hire you? So company owners were asking those interns. Also, the most important thing is that you can say that I have actually received education, university education on this. Yes, you can become a 3D modeler, but if you understand the pain of the software person, then you are valuable. You are a member of this team. Okay, so supposing that when I first like I am mostly a game developer, and I am software oriented. So as a developer, a game designer, excuse me, and the design part, uh, because I was able to think of the development as well, I didn't need to get in touch with any developer, because I knew what the circumstances that he would be in, because what I designed there, how long would it get the developers to actually put them into practice, because you're racing against time. Okay, you design something, the developer has to know what you're designing. And in that respect, without even asking the developers, by myself, I used to figure out how long that would take, or else how an audio could be developed, or else what a developer could use. I know what it should use, and that's why I was always the apple of the eye of the boss. And this goes the same for the other people who have graduated from the digital game design, because there they not only teach you software design throughout the whole education. Actually, first of all, in the first year, you get a blend of a taste of all areas that you have to know about in the first year of your education, which is really important for a team spirit, because designing a game is team spirit. If you understand the circumstances of others, what others in your team are doing, then this is an advantage on your side. So bosses, companies, let's say, they uh, appreciate you being a digital game design graduate. And with digital design, for instance, uh, they ask particularly whether there are people in the department, studying in departments, who are about to graduate. Digital design graduates are important for this country. People seek for it. Of time, like within 2 years time, 3 years time, there will be more people who are graduates of the digital game design, I'm sure. We will see. Okay, so let me just recap in brief. Digital game design, who is it for? Well, digital game design are for people who would like to take this as a career, because full time you have to concentrate on this, and if you want to become a professional, then you have to attend this department. As a digital game design graduate, what I do is that we do game jams, we do different organizations. Secondly, we establish a game studio, and we work on a few games, DevCon, for instance, thanks to our school, our university. And we attended Gaming Istanbul again. And in indie games, actually, we were ranked the second. And we do different games. And then thirdly, I am a YouTube channel owner, and I can totally I totally have a content on game development. All my life is based on the game sector, and I'm really happy. If I were to study in other departments, or not, my entire life wouldn't be about game development. I would only attend a company as a designer, as a softwarer, and that would be it. And people who would like to know what they are actually doing, they should attend this department. You're not because only designing a game, you know the history of the game that you design. You're doing this design about this game because psychologically, I do this, because the psychology of the gamer, the marketing aspect, the monetization, the storytelling of the game, everything about the game, thanks to studying at this department. And this sector is now like a toddler in our country, and people who would like to develop themselves, they can join a community actually once they attend university. Actually, uh, there are people who are in their first year, I'm sure, at the university, and they would become the rock stars of the sector in the future, that's for sure. And you actually would know those rock stars of the future when you attend the very same university. So if you want to grow with these people, if you want to be with these people, if you want to get involved in that community, digital game design department is what actually would suit you. And people who are passionate about game design, they should also be attending this department, because game design is all about passion. You've got this passion, this craving for game development, game design, then you would actually spare your precious time on this. If you don't have too much of a passion or else knowledge, then you would just like take things as a must, as a requirement. The boss would always like urge you to do it, but because you're not passionate about it, you wouldn't get joy. Well, as I said, here you design the game by knowing. You don't do it for the sake of doing it only, designing it only. I just want to end my talk here. Thank you so very much. I didn't want to put too much of questions that I received from my channel. I want to receive your questions here, because now we can proceed with your questions. Well, currently there seems to be no questions, but let's wait for people if like maybe they are writing it down. I wanted to finish a bit earlier so that we have got time for the Q&A. Of course, mostly people ask me questions about scholarship, because I mean, people are curious to find out, like, apply BAU, I want to receive 100% scholarship, and I do not get ready, I do not prepare myself for the examination because I've launched my own game. So they say, no, that is not the logic there, please. Excuse me, that's not the logic at all behind. Apply BAU is a system that gives you the second chance, which is like, yes, you can receive the scholarship of the student selection and recruitment center, but Apply BAU is a second chance for you. You just introduce yourself and you share your work, and then you share your dreams, and then in return you get a scholarship. But it's not that you will like design a game and then that don't expect Apply BAU to give you 100% scholarship, and do not like stop preparing yourself for the examination, because Apply BAU receives like 300, 400 applications per year, and you know the limited number of people who are welcomed at the department. So of course, not everybody can receive a scholarship. In order to receive a scholarship, it's not that they are going to be receiving 100% of the scholarship. So, I mean, today there was the university examination, wasn't it? Well, it's a bit ridiculous, but I mean, it's a bit, of course, but for instance, a guy said that it was enough for him to like receive 25 to 30% of scholarship, and that he was not studying for the examination at all. No, you have to first of all, of course, be successful at the examination, and then apply for the scholarship. The school does not actually accept you if you are not a part of that examination. You have to be successful in that examination. You have to achieve a certain ranking there, certain points there. You have to at least meet the minimum points score requirement of the department. Of course, like it is valid for 7 years, or else if you go over below a certain credit, you lose your scholarship, but I don't remember those details. You have to search for it. But there is nothing that you won't be attending the examination. Okay, let me also ask one thing here. Because it's been a long time since the university examination, of course, but like Turkish mathematics or else social sciences were required. So in order to enter into this department, what is needed? Is it like it is mathematics and science in the past in our term. Now they've changed the wording. They call the figurative area, and physics, mathematics, we don't actually have such classes, that's for sure. Or else you don't have any classes like for algebra. Some enjoy it, but I do not. And you have to take quantitative classes back at the high school. And the department that you're studying is going to be quantitative also, mostly. As I said, they used to call it maths and science, but I think that they've changed the wording. It is quantitative. We've received a question. Thank you so much for your attendance. My question is this: the university itself, if we want to actually be an intern in a company that which is not found by the university, then what are we going to do? Well, if you have had your own community in a digital game design, you are more comfortable in that respect because supposing that there are many people who come from the gaming sector and who come over to our university, and they, if you like meet them and expand your community, it would be good for you, and you can find opportunities for your internship. Well, because people sometimes feel timid and shy, but that university environment enables you for you to come forth and like introduce yourself, make a community of your own. If you're talking about doing an intern out of the computer game company, you can apply certain websites. For instance, there are HR companies. You can get in touch with them in order to find an internship opportunity, or else on LinkedIn, you can search for these things, because on LinkedIn, people seek for interns and they share posts accordingly. And you can get in touch with people who share that post. And apart from that, let me just think, well, this is all actually. At least if I want to do an internship somewhere, I stalk people on LinkedIn. If I want to be an intern in a place, I kind of write to the people of those people who are working in that company, either the CEO or else another person, or else who's got a 3D modeling, for instance, who's got nothing to do with intern requirements, but he understands me, he understands my passion, and he can introduce me to his boss, for instance. So you can get in touch with those HR companies or else LinkedIn and seek for internship opportunities. Because with HR companies, you just immediately apply that you want to become an intern, and they match you with a company. Okay. As we don't have any further questions, thank you so much for your attendance. I think indeed, hopefully, we will have you as a guest in other events. Yeah, it would be superb. And I wish you success in your jam. Okay, thank you so very much.